And we're live.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
If you say so, darling. Hi!
Hi. Hello, everyone. I can see that we already have some viewers joining us, which is nice. We are without our third participant today, at least for now. Sofia will join us in a couple of minutes. She had an unexpected business call at the last moment, so she'll join us. Anyway, this is iBookBinding's live stream. Welcome to 2023. This is the first time we live stream in the new year. Hi, Pavel. Where are you?
Hi. I'm in Belgrade. I spent 2.5 weeks in Sofia, and I have a few things to
Sofia,
show
I should add
them.
probably Bulgaria because.
Oh yeah. Like a friend of mine here who has some business with European musicians told me that some of them think that Belgrade is actually Berlin, and yet others think that it is located in Siberia because they have never heard the word Serbia before. So,
well, I understand why some of Russian-speaking people can mix up Belgrade and Belgrade, for example. But yeah, okay. Berlin, which, as far as I understand, Berlin is also a Slavic toponym. So
yeah. At least the living theory is the root bear is supposed to mean bear in both in ancient Slavic and ancient Germanic languages, and there is also this legend why Slavic languages no longer use this root because
it was sacred
something
word
like a
for.
sacred animal, or at
Yeah.
least a very scary animal that you don't want to attract by saying its true name. So apparently bear is the true name of the bear, and the modern word medved and related words in other Slavic languages is its unofficial name, unscary one.
Yeah. Okay. We spent some time in Berlin, by the way, during this holiday break. So, but we wouldn't be talking about that because, well, I guess we'll reserve that for the next time. Not that we had anything related to books during this visit. We had some visit in the Netherlands right after we left Berlin. So that's something we'd like to show, but later, not this week. Anyway, there are some.
Just a second. Speaking of places we are streaming from, I'd like to ask everyone who's listening and watching to write down in the comments where you're listening us from, because we really like that. Because almost every week somebody joins us from a place
From a new place, yeah.
never been before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun.
Yeah, and also I forgot what I wanted to say. Oh, I want to say that please also check the links in the description. There are links to our Patreon account, and we always are glad to see new members joining the crowd, supporting our projects over there. Because, well, we spend all of the money that we get from Patreon and even more on editing, preparing for the videos, paying to our money to our salary to our researcher, or how you say, paying money to our researcher, and yeah, Friedrich Sommerfeld, and some other expenses as well. So we would appreciate if you can join the group of supporters. And well, subscribe,
Let's just
share,
start at only
whatever.
$1, €1, £1, depending on where you are.
And
I know the line.
£1 is really becoming more and more actual for us. So there are some news there. There are some things about the project in whole, about the iBookBinding project in whole to discuss. There are some things about the shop to discuss, because I know that people have some questions about when the shop will be working again. And also we have prepared several videos from different workshop studio visits we had in the United States during our holiday vacation during our Hanukkah slash Christmas vacation over there in the US. And yeah, that's a group of very interesting binders. Some of them appeared on our podcast or live streams before. Some of them were not. Some of them will appear in the future. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. It will be mostly studio tours, so no presentation of bindings or something like that. We reserve that for the future because, well, we have a lot of material and there will be just not enough time to cover everything. But we'll probably, I hope Sofia will join us really soon, and we'll start with our move to United Kingdom and all of that stuff. And then
But
we'll
so far we can at least name people who have joined us on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's our regular real LWD from Lancaster. Hi. Another UK guest is Jill Lauriston, who's from Sheffield, and there is also Nuria Castaneda. Yeah, we've had her last time from Mexico City.
Yeah. And then on Facebook, Beb van Hasteren joined us from Haarlem in the Netherlands. And
Hi, Beb.
Tanya Aguero Dejo, or yeah,
From Peru.
I'm butchering the name. Sorry, from Peru. Yeah, I guess it's Dejo. Should be. Anyway,
Probably, yeah.
sorry for the tangent, and sorry for mispronouncing the name for sure. But we're glad to have you here. Glenn Malkin joined us from Yorkshire in the UK, and Judith Spades Colin from Raleigh, NC. It's North Carolina. I think it should be that in the United States.
Probably, yeah.
So let's.
So what? Let's just bring up the news, and Sofia will join us in process. Yeah.
North Carolina. Yeah. Yeah. So the news is that it's really strange to bring the news without Sofia because she's sort of the linchpin of all the things happening to iBookBinding with all of our moves. But maybe some of the viewers have seen Sofia already on our podcast when it was podcasted, not live stream. It was almost 2 years ago, when we were moving to France, and we discussed the reasoning for that. And Sofia works for a large international corporation, and sometimes they ask really politely their employees to move from one country to another. That's how we ended up in the Netherlands in 2018 in the first place. And then we sort of had to move to the United States in early 2020. So in around May,
and then
or something
happened.
Yeah, something happened. And on the we had our appointment at the American consulate on the 18th of March. And on the 16th of March, in the Netherlands, they declared the countrywide limitation to quarantine, not quarantine, but limitation to visiting public spaces and organizations. And all appointments were postponed. They weren't canceled because, United States takes your money, but then they say we can use this money in the future, but only if you apply for the same type of visa at the same consulate. So we didn't go to the United States, and then we moved to France, and here we are, moving to the United Kingdom, to England to be precise. And this will probably happen early in February. So we just got our visas 2 days ago. What is this? Thursday. Yesterday. We got our visas yesterday. Yeah, and it was a lengthy process because of reasons. And yeah, so everything in France had to be, the business in France has to be closed, because, well, I was registered here as entrepreneur, as a one-person business. So it's not a limited company. It's not a joint stock venture company. So I cannot operate this type of business from when, if I'm not a resident, at least as far as I understand. And anyway, my business isn't that large, so that I having two entities in two different sort of fiscal regions,
Jurisdiction.
jurisdictions would be reasonable. I think there will be a need for representative office in the European Union in the future, but not now. That's enough headache for me already with all the things I have right now. So
So
um,
what will it mean for iBook binding?
um, there is also Marisa de Souza from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hi there. Joining us on YouTube. What does it mean for iBook binding? Well, firstly, the shop is closed since the 15th of December, so it's almost a month now. Since I stopped accepting the orders, I processed all of the orders before we left for our vacation, and the shop will stay closed until we are in England, because I don't want, because I'm closing the business here anyway, and I cannot sell anything without a legal entity. And I will try to open the business in the United Kingdom as soon as I can, and it may be even like in February or something. But the question is, how soon will I be able to relaunch all the processes, all the production, and all of that? Because the business grows bit by bit, and this time we decided that I will look for a workshop studio space right away, and that's something that I need to understand how to do, because in every country there are different rules, different approaches. When I was trying to find a place for myself in France, I found out that uh, like most of the contracts for the industrial and business spaces are for 3 years, and you can see what a contract, what a 3 year contract would have meant for us in current circumstances. I would need to pay for one more year or even more for this place, even not using it from abroad. So that's something, that's one of the concerns. We hope that we will stay in the UK, in England, for much longer than it was in the Netherlands and in France. So this concern is not as important. I mean, the length of contract, but there are other concerns. I need to just understand how to do it in England. What are the regulations? What are the limitations? What's demanded of me? So it will be fun, but I hope I'll have some nice space. I don't know, maybe something like 500 to 700 square feet, which is sort of what, 40 to 60 square meters. Maybe to do not only 3D printing, maybe to do some woodworking, maybe some doing metal casting, maybe bookbinding.
Book binding.
Bookbinding,
So
bookbinding.
you've been dreaming of your own workshop for years now. You've had
Yeah,
something of a workshop back in Moscow.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
um, Still, it was a room in an apartment, but it
yeah.
was a separate workshop.
Well,
But so far, you haven't had a professional
it was a
space.
place when I could do some dirty stuff. Yeah, that's true.
So Glenn Malkin on YouTube asks, "Where in England will you be?"
Yeah, I see that Glenn is both on Facebook and YouTube, which is very dedicated. So Sofya's company has office in Slough, near London, so we are thinking about settling somewhere in between Maidenhead and Ealing, maybe Windsor. So that area.
So that's what, east of no, west of London.
West of London, yeah.
Yeah.
And I cannot say. Well, I do not know where exactly, because we obviously are browsing the houses and flats that are available on the market on the internet, but uh, it usually goes that when you come in place and start working with realtors and looking for the real stuff that's available, it's a bit different compared to what you see on the internet. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what our budget allows us. And once again, we not only have to budget an apartment, we also need to budget a studio for myself. So, but anyway, this area probably, no, I don't know. Maybe it will be even maybe it will be Maidenhead or Windsor. But anyway, this area. We thought about settling in Reading. Because, well, reading is written like reading, like the process of reading, and I thought it would be such fun thing to have iBookBinding reading Reading UK everywhere. But it's a bit too far away, I guess, for us.
There's a couple more hellos from the viewers, from Art Girly Carol from Pennsylvania, and from Milagros Carrazos, also from Peru. 2 viewers from Peru. That's nice. And there is a question that I will attach my own question to. So UK is no longer a part of European Union.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What are the consequences for your business, for your shipping? And also BEP is asking, will you be able to visit European fairs like St. Nicholas or Leiden?
So yeah, it's a huge issue, and both from the point of view of, well, from many points of view. I'm working with wholesale partners, like for example, like Schmidt, to understand how to better go through this process, and they say that the problem isn't even the I don't know, customs fees or taxes, but the unpredictability of the schedule. So stuff can go through customs in one day or in like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's so it becomes pretty unpredictable when you receive the goods. So they are not, as far as I understand, they were not they were willing to continue our partnership, but well, there will be complications, obviously, for the customers. As far as I understand, Etsy collects taxes, VAT, for orders that are shipped to the European Union from outside. So this probably means that for the orders that are shipped with national post, they will receive these packages and wouldn't have to pay anything over the order, but they will have to pay this tax over the price of the tools on Etsy. So the prices will go up just a bit. At the same time, some of the tools are available through our partners in Germany. Some other tools are available through our partners in Spain and Madrid. There maybe will be some other partners who will offer limited ranges of our tools. So maybe that will be a good solution for European customers of iBookBinding, and obviously we will post about it on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. For all the people who are buying iBookBinding tools from outside of European Union and outside of UK, nothing changes, because, well, obviously, if there were any custom fees they had to pay before, they will have to pay the same custom fees now.
So wait, buyers from UK will not have to pay taxes.
For the customers in the UK, stuff will get a bit cheaper because, well, they don't have to pay this additional tax that's Etsy imposed automatically on all the orders. They charge VAT for the United Kingdom, and they pass this money to the I don't remember how it's called in the UK, revenue office or whatever. So it will become cheaper and faster hopefully faster for the British customers, and yeah, that's that. And then about the fairs, I plan to take part in the fairs in the future. How will it go? I don't know yet, because another issue. Well, firstly, obviously, I need to find out how it works with the customs and everything else.
Sofia
And
has joined us
yeah,
Hello.
but without video or with video. I need
with
With
video.
yeah.
video. I'm here.
I just need
You need
to
to switch something.
yeah. Just give me a moment. Here she is. Yeah. Hi.
Sorry I'm late. I needed to finish some piece of work.
Welcome back. What we talked a bit about it. So yeah, I've been talking about the fairs, whether we're going to take part in the future. So there are two issues. The first issue is the customs. How do I go through the customs with stuff? And we have some solutions for that. The other issue is that right after we leave, or pretty soon after we leave France and become and get settled in the UK, we lose our resident status in France, and we'll have to apply for European visas, for Schengen visas, which is not the easiest, as we have Russian passports. It isn't the easiest thing to do in the current moment. So we'll see how it goes. As far as I understand, France continues to issue visas to Russian citizens, and I hope that will be the case for us. And then we'll come to St. Nicholas. Definitely we'll work out something before Leiden Bookbinders book craft fair happens in November. So if not in St. Nicholas, we'll see each other in Leiden in November. So, Sofia, my dear wife, the reason of all of this commotion.
I truly believe we're moving for iBookBinding to be in the UK because there are so many amazing bookbinders there. I've heard when we were in the US.
Yeah, I think you've met at least a couple of bookbinders in the UK, but more in the United States. Anyway, so the reason of our move, and firstly, well, congratulations to you for your promotion and for this move, and that's a big thing for. I guess even bigger thing for you than for me for iBookBinding. So
And congratulations for no longer having to work in France.
I promised myself I'm not going to bash France too much, but I wonder if I look back at our conversation, which was happening when we were still in the Netherlands and was supposed to move to France. I think I was hesitant at the time as well about how much we're going to enjoy living in France, but I am that much more hesitant now. But I have a very good feeling about UK, so that's good indication. And yes, France is a fantastic country for people who love France, and I'm sure French people enjoy it a lot. It was a bit of a hard fit for us, mainly due to language barrier and a lot of the nuances of not matching to what our lifestyle we want to have. But to no blame of the country. So looking forward to move to English-speaking country and feel much more appropriate there.
Yeah. I should say that it was an interesting challenge to learn French from scratch and to start to sort of feed the society in France. And there were some challenges. There were some upsetting moments. There were some really fun and interesting moments. There was everything. I should definitely say that fitting in the Netherlands was much more easier for us, and I hope it will be easier for us in the UK as well, as we are sort of fluent English speakers, so that definitely helps. But
I even passed the IELTS to prove that I'm fluent in English.
yeah, you had to pass an exam, yeah, because of
I
the
had
visa
to pass an
conditions.
exam.
Yeah.
The requirement was 4 out of 9, which was honestly offensive. I got 8.5 out of 9, so I was very proud of myself. Something I
Well,
could never believe I would achieve in my life.
also congrats. So just let me read a couple of comments and.
Oh, there are comments.
Yeah, there are a lot of comments. So
There are a
what
lot of
else?
comments.
Siklinde Folman, Belgium is waving. Please come to the fair in St. Nicholas, Stepan. Send it, meaning the goods, to me. Say it's a sample. You will then do not have to pay customs, and I can then bring it to St. Nicholas. But count everything first, because there may be an item or 2 or 3 that you will miss, and I can use. Well, thank you for the offer. We have some ideas of how to solve this stuff, but anyway, we have to work out. We have to find out some solution that's working stably, and we'll do our best. So for St.
We'll
Nicholas,
figure it out.
for St. Nicholas, our main concern is to get visas and not to get the stuff for the fair over the border. For the future,
ship yourself as a sample.
Yeah.
There's also a question on YouTube from David Rubino. Hello everyone, Santa Fe, New Mexico. I had to move over 2,000 boxes of books. Do you have a lot of to move? Good luck on the move. I'm still setting things up.
I can go and show how many books we have to move.
Well,
how many 3D printers do you have? How many books do you have? Do tell us.
I don't have that many boxes of books, so currently we have to move something like. Why is there some additional sound? Is there some echo or something?
Fine.
It's fine.
No,
Okay.
no.
So it's only on my side. Anyway, we have my book collection is not too large. So
Just 20 boxes of books we had.
Yeah, something like 20 boxes of books. So it's 2,000 books or something like that. And we left all of our books before we left. We moved to the Netherlands. So we left them back in Moscow. Just I took, I don't know, only 50 of them or something like that. And so everything after accumulated after we moved to the Netherlands, mostly in the Netherlands, we added a few more books to my collection in France, but not as many as in the Netherlands. And but yeah, most of the space is taken by my workshop, my equipment, all that stuff. I think even more than furniture. it's mostly workshop equipment. At least
when we were packing.
Yeah.
When we were packing from the Netherlands to France, it was 242 boxes, and I think 160 something was your stuff with the 3D printers, and now it's even more.
2 to 1.
Yeah, and the packing people were like, usually when we pack, it's majority of coming from women, and only like a small piece coming from the guy. But we were like a rare case when the majority of stuff came from the guy, and I just had a couple of pieces of clothing.
And what does your equipment consist of? How much do you have? What do you have apart from the printers, which were like a dozen of them?
Yeah, I thought maybe doing a showing a short video of the workshop tour. Let me check the comments first, and then we can do this video and discuss them. And so there is Turgon 92, our regular from Greece. Hello, greetings from Greece, and Elizabeth Hag Shuttlewood. I haven't heard of iBookBinding before this week. I am a K bookbinder. What kinds of things do you sell? So I'll post I'll just post a comment and a link, but it's mostly 3D. Well, currently it's only 3D printed tools, and somehow I cannot post the comment. What's happening?
Let me. What link do you want to post?
Just
Etsy.
store.cyberbinding.com, because shop on Etsy isn't working. So the tools
Okay.
are mostly smaller sized tools for bookbinders, cradles for punching the signatures, different gauges or gauges. I also forget how the word is pronounced. Different gauges, I think, and straight edges and stuff for measuring, corners for mitering the corners of turn-ins, clamps for box making, that sort of stuff. So a lot of small tools and some larger tools. Also, I have some paper making molds, which is my favorite pet project, making different watermarks and mesh patterns, all of that stuff. So that's that. And as I said, I really hope to have a woodworking and metalworking space in my studio, in my workshop, in my new workshop in the UK. And that will definitely mean that there will be more new tools added to the shop in the future, maybe quite soon in the future. So
I miss your woodworking days. I remember us working in your workshop in that room.
Yeah.
There was a lot of exploring and inventing things to help make other things. So I hope you start it again, and who knows, perhaps I will even visit you.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
let's hope for that. That's another issue, because, well, obviously Pavel, we talked about it, but Pavel has left Russia a while ago, and that's an issue for him to get visas. So we really hope that issue will be solved in the nearest future. And everything broke, yeah, because I started sharing. Sorry. I'll fix everything.
Are we supposed to see the picture from your workshop?
Yeah.
This is probably gonna be video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The vertical video?
yeah, I have a vertical.
You're learning something.
Because I had it. It's a bit jittery, yeah.
That's fine. I see it fine.
Oh, you see it fine. Maybe outside it's also fine. So this is how it is at the moment, or how it was in my workshop room here in France. And well, this is sort of the production space, and my administrative space was in our living room. So I cannot stop exploding out of my workshop, which doesn't make Sofia happy, obviously.
I think I said in a video a year and a half ago when we were moving that I hope that we're gonna get the apartment and you finally stop occupying the living room with your stuff, but still half of a living room is
okay, but at least you
even.
don't have 3D printers in your living room.
That's true. That's true. No ambient noise there. It's just the documentation. It's just we have the when we came into the apartment, it's a very beautiful big living room with the chimney. It's very spacious, very light and nice. And where Stefan is sitting doesn't look that nice, but it is. And there is we bought the table for like having dinners and lunches and whatever it is. And then we bought chairs, so when the guests are coming, we can have a nice dinners and stuff. And then we never use the table. Like we have a smaller table which Stefan found on some flea market, which is much lower and the level of our sofa, and we always eat there for whatever reason. Two of us just eat there. And then suddenly this table, which was supposed to be a dinner table, is like filled with Stefan's stuff, like the documents and papers and books and whatever it is. And my parents were visiting, and they were visiting without us in the apartment, which was tricky. And only after they left, I figured out that the table was so filled with stuff that they never cleaned it, and they were forced to have breakfast, lunches, whatever, on smaller table as well, which may be fine for us, probably not so fine for them. But it's like, if they would want to, they would probably clean it up. But the thing is that the table is not serving the purpose it was supposed to, because Stefan is expanding everywhere. He's like gas. He occupies every space which is given. So I'm maintaining my piece of like sofa and projector and like the gym piece in the one half of the living room. The other half living room is completely Stefan's world. And when he's saying to me now, when we're looking for UK apartment, he's like, "Oh, we can look for something which will be a bit smaller space because my workshop will be separate." I was like, "I can guarantee you will find a way to put a couple of printers in our home, put some documentation, then establish some things." And then I was like, "You also need to place to stream some things." And he's like, "Oh no, I can stream from the living room." I was like, "Sure you can. I just you don't want to." But yeah, so it's very hard. I'm sure he will find a workshop space, but I also sure that his business will still present in our home in one way or another. But hopefully we'll find a space which will accommodate for that, even though it's not easy.
But
Finding
then it's
space
only
in London
fair.
is not
You're
easy.
working from home mostly. Why shouldn't he?
I will be not working from home going from UK
Oh,
because I work now in a local business and it's expected to be in the office at least 3 days a week, sometimes more. And also, yeah, fair. If he would want to stream from here, he could, but he chooses the living room. Maybe he likes chimney more.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And once again, if anyone has any additional questions about the move, about iBookBinding's project, about the shop, please post them and we'll try to answer them. So Zicklin also wrote very nice clamps and very useful corners for cutting the tournament material corners. So yeah, thank you very much. And a lot of effort was put into the designs of all of iBookBinding's tools, and I think we talked already about how the design process goes and how the tools evolve over the years, and that's most of the tools are sort of in their third or fourth or fifth version, and I mean the major milestones and major changes that happen to the tools, and it's a very I enjoy this process of designing and redesigning and improving quite a lot, and that's one of the things that's very important about iBookbinding and about my business for me. So that's for sure will continue. Experimentation will continue. I have a lot of ideas for new tools. I have some propositions and questions incoming from customers, from existing customers, from potential customers to create or modify the tools. So that's also part of the process, and yeah, just wait a bit, and there will be something interesting coming from my.
I have to ask, now that you'll have a workshop, maybe an assistant too?
Well, yes, hopefully, but we'll see how it goes. As
At
the
least for packing.
yeah, as the business went, when we were these last 2 weeks before our vacation, I was really happy when during the last week before our vacation, I was talking to my therapist. Well, I was like, "Oh, I planned everything so well, and I'm closing all the stuff. I'm stopping to receive the orders on the 15th of December, 1 week before we leave to the United States, and I have plenty of time, and I scheduled everything well, and I'm sending the last orders on the day before this, so it fits perfectly." And she's like, "Didn't you tell me that you were working 7 days per week, 14 hours per day during these 2 weeks? And so what exactly did you plan well?" And I was like, Well, at least I was on time, and having no weekends was part of this plan. Next time I'll try to plan better, but whatever. So definitely I need some help, some assistance, and at least, as you said, for some admin work and packing of the orders, maybe something else. We'll see how it goes. So I will be looking for a part-time employee, part-time assistant after we move to the UK. But once again, there is a order of things, and that's like fifth priority or something like that.
I
Yeah,
also think that we need to understand the legalities of the aspects, the entity, how to create it, how to hire people, how to pay taxes for them, and things like
yeah,
this,
yeah.
which is a lot of things to swallow. And I don't know, people who are moving countries feel that more, but the amount of unusual things you face when you're moving and suddenly things which you expected to be the certain way, they're not. It takes time. We moved to France and it took us like good 9 months to establish overall anything working. And I think Stefan still doesn't have his social insurance, if I'm not
Yeah, I sort of
mistaken.
got it, or at least they sent me a letter that I have it, but I don't know what that.
Yeah, it's good that we have good health, but it's like the process takes time. And from UK standpoint, from what I understood, they also not super fast, and sometimes not too efficient. Therefore, it's also a bit scary when you hire somebody. You take ultimate responsibility to pay for them in a way which is appropriate and fitting the system. For that, you need to understand the system and understand what's happening. Yeah, so step by step. I'm sure we're gonna get there. It's just we need to make sure that we are covering all our bases and that we also the thing which I'm not freaked out, but it's like every time you move, your spending pattern is changing a bit because the like housing costs differently, utilities cost differently, groceries cost differently, and even though I was very blessed to get a very nice offer from my company, and Stefan obviously makes a nice amount of money. I'm not sure that I understand how UK works in terms of the like what we're gonna spend on, and if we're gonna have money by the end of the month. So we need to see how it all worked out.
Yeah, and everyone is talking about the cost of living
Cost of living crisis. I
Yeah.
feel very privileged in that regard because I'm sure we're at the level of income which is not majorly affected. Like we're not gonna stop buying, I don't know, detergent or whatnot.
Or heating
Um,
the home.
Yeah, we're probably going to be still heating our home. Though I have to say, it's a bit of an anecdote. In our French apartment, the heating works either on the maximum level or not at all. You cannot do anything in between. Therefore, it's always extremely hot in our apartment, and we constantly sit with open windows, which means that we're heating atmosphere, because otherwise you cannot exist here.
Which is pretty irresponsible, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite similar to what we experienced in Moscow, honestly. But here it's like kind of you can control it, but you actually cannot because the moment you put the thing on like medium level heat, the how they call
Pipes start to
pipes
vibrate. Yeah.
start to vibrate and burst
Whoa.
and like make the weird sounds and wake up neighbors. So we don't do that. There's some issue with pressure, I don't know, but the thing is that we keep it at maximum. And then I'm constantly hot, and then I have my team in the UK and they all are freezing. And like I constantly, when I have calls in there in not in the office but at home, some of them like wearing puff jackets or like some like they're very cold visibly, and they're like, oh, it's so cold, and it's like, and I'm so hot. I'm like, I'm wearing a t-shirt with open window and things like this. I much prefer lower temperature, honestly. I work much better when it's a bit colder than when it's hot.
And speaking of utilities, I looked it up just yesterday. UK has one of the highest prices for both gas and electricity in the world, and gasoline. Everything is fourth or fifth in the world, just after the Nordic countries. So
Yeah, and we're coming from France where the electricity was super cheap.
yeah,
Extremely cheap and also capped by the government. Thank them for that. It's good that we lived in the Netherlands before that, which was not cheap at all. Like the utilities in the Netherlands was much more expensive, especially considering that Stefan using extreme amount of electricity for his printers and stuff.
Well, not extreme. It's not like I don't know. I'm welding or something.
No, they are electricity efficient. Let me put it that way. The printers are not to blame, but there are just a lot of them, and it's increasing our consumption versus the average two people household.
That's true. That's true.
Therefore, we are okay with spending this money on electricity, but still, it was very noticeable bump back from from Netherlands to France, which still versus Russia, where we paid virtually nothing for utilities, it's a big difference. But the UK is out there in terms of the cost of and that's the thing which I think a lot about when I look at the different housing options. Because they sometimes have the worst is like double glazed windows or whatever, which is like a feature not of all of the housing options, which is shocking. But a lot of the apartments and stuff during winter, they're kind of easily like wind goes through the windows very easily, and you spend a lot to like heat and reheat the place. And I was looking at some of the houses we saw yesterday, like super quirky house with like crazy 4-floor, 1 room per floor type of thing. And I was like, imagine how much money you need to spend to like heat all of that and just to figure it out. I'm scared about that.
Yeah, the double glazing thing is a strange one. When I first heard from a friend that is installing double glazing, it's like something from
90s. Yeah, I was like, we did it. And like, not to say that Moscow is on the forefront, but like I expected we are like way in past versus Europe, because it was like called in Euro remodeling when we were doing double glazing
No,
windows.
Sofia. What you are saying, what you are talking about is triple glazing, because you have 3-layered glass in Moscow.
True.
And if you remember our
like
our
a single
apartment
layer is something a village house.
Yeah. I was
You-
like, what do you mean? And then you look through these postings and you understand that half of them don't have double glazing. So it's like those. I remember I was talking to the realtor and I was like, is that the thing? Like, do they just forget to mention that? It's like, why would they even mentioning that? Isn't it a norm? He's like, no, it's not. I was like,
yeah,
great. We're gonna learn a lot.
There are things to adjust. So another comment from Siklinde Folman, not extreme 12 printers. Yeah, and I have 3 more waiting to be delivered after we move to the United Kingdom. I ordered a clay 3D printer, so we'll see how it goes. And
because
because why not? But also it can print with the paper pulp, so I definitely want to experiment with that. And also I ordered a couple of newer printers which can improve quality quite a bit. I just I was sort of interviewed by a colleague about 3D printed books and 3D printed elements used in bookbinding, and she asked me to send her some of the photos, and I sent her some of the photos I used for the shop 2 or 3 years ago, and I can see the difference in the quality between the tools that were sold then 3 years ago and that the tools that I sell at the moment. So yeah, as I said before, tools improve. I improve the designs of the tools, but also technology improves. So I really hope that these new printers will allow to hike to improve the quality even more. That's one of the goals, at least. So should we talk a bit about our holiday, our vacation, our studio visits in the US?
I wonder why nobody's asking questions about my fancy corporate job.
Do you want to talk about your fancy corporate? We talked a bit about it before you joined.
You did? While I was working in my fancy corporate job.
We had to talk about something, so sorry about that. But yeah, if you want to talk about it, you can tell us a couple of things.
No, I'm fine.
I think you'd rather tell us why you decided to go to New York, because obviously Stepan wanted to see bookbinders and printers and whatnot, but that wasn't your idea of a nice vacation, was it?
honestly, how it came to be is a bit wild because so my main intention, which Pavel knows about, is I wanted to see Funny Girl on Broadway. Why I wanted to see it? Because Leah Michelle, who is a controversial figure, but the person who I love since I was, I don't know, 17, 18, whatever, when the Glee started happening, it was kind of a dream to see her on Broadway in this particular show. And when I saw that it's happening, I was like, what if it's gonna happen for just like a couple of months and then it's over and I missed it? So I started to planning how to go to the US to see her, and it's not a problem of money; it's rather a problem of visa, because the US visas, unlike your like European Schengens or UK or whatever, requires interview, and due to COVID, they had a huge backlog of those interviews in Paris. So in Paris, where we were supposed to get the visas, they had a waiting list of 524 days. So the first available interview when I was checking
500.
524. When I was checking in July this year, the first available interview was 2nd of January 2024. And I was like, by then there would be no Lee and Michelle ever anywhere. I don't know. And initially I was like, well, that's not possible. Full blank. Let's stop. But then the more I saw TikToks and videos from the show, I was like, no, I need to see that live. And then I figured out elaborate plan how to get to Poland, which is much more equipped to do interviews, and they have much bigger capacity of the interviewers earlier, and then how to schedule interview in Poland, and it was a whole endeavor. And we managed to get there. And I was planning that I will be still doing my previous job, and therefore I was thinking that I will take the vacation to go to Poland, but in reality I already changed the jobs and I was working for UK, and it was super hectic. We went to Poland, we got the interview, we were approved for visas, then we went to Germany to see my brother while we were waiting for passports to be released from the embassy. It was a hectic week. Anyway, we got our visas. We bought the tickets for the Christmas because it was like there's no better time. We're gonna be moving to UK. There will be no good time to go on vacation for the next couple of months. And once again, maybe she's gonna stop her run at any moment. So it was like Christmas time. That seems time as good as any. And it was very expensive, obviously, because it's Christmas, but so worth it. And then I bought tickets and was so happy. And we saw it, I think, on the third day we were in New York, on the second, and it was fabulous. I was crying. I was so happy. It was so fantastic. And honestly, I don't think we would go to the US if that would not be happening. Like we would choose something else to go somewhere else. But because it was happening, we found many other occasions to populate our trip with, which is basically seeing every single bookbinder on the East Coast around New York area.
Well,
Which
I had to keep myself within the reasonable, borders or something, and so we only met what 6 people or something like that.
yeah, I think so. Um, yeah, 6. We were supposed to meet more, but some of them skipped, so we kind of freed up schedule a bit. And yeah, it was great. I was trying to restrict Stefan a bit. I was like, keep your horses. We're on vacation. That's supposed to be rest and like chill. But ultimately, all people we saw were fabulous and very delightful. So I was not too mad. But at some point, I was like, I feel like I'm learning about bookbinding more than I would want to this trip. But it was great.
It was a bit tiring. That's true. That's that I agree with. So let's
Will you
see.
show us some videos?
Let's see what we have there. Let me share video again.
Who will be the first one?
So we had a chance to visit Mindel Dubansky. She's a book conservator at the Metropolitan Museum in New York. And start the video. And here's the conservation lab that she organized and created, and there will be a short interview with her after this video ends. And we also had a chance to walk around the Metropolitan Museum on Wednesday, which is the off day for the museum. So it was almost absolutely empty, and we in some of the halls there were no other people besides us, which is a pretty magical experience. And I don't think I have ever been to any major museum in circumstance like that. We've been with Pavel to some backstage places of the uh, how is it called, Pushkin State Art, Pushkin Art Gallery in
Pushkin Art
Moscow.
Museum. Yeah.
Pushkin Art Museum in Moscow, and that was a very special experience. But nothing like that. So let's hear what Lindell.
I've been here for 40 years. About 11 years ago, this was a cinder block basement, and we had a beautiful opportunity to renovate our lab and create this beautiful lab. And we added a mezzanine, which is upstairs, which gave us a lot more square footage to work. And we're responsible for all of conserving all the books in the museum library system, and some of the books that are session works of art in departments like the Department of Drawings and Prints. About 4,000 books come in and out of this room every year. Some of them very quickly, and some of them take their time. And we have 5 staff. One part-time. That's what we do. All the books we work on are art books about, or are art books. Our collection reflects the collection of the Metropolitan. Increasingly, we're asked to work on exhibitions, and exhibitions in the library and the museum. And we're about to have our first off-site exhibition at the Grolier Club in January to April. And that's going to be on American decorated paper.
And by the way, this exhibition is already was already open or is opening pretty soon. So if you are in New York, we definitely invite you to visit this exhibition dedicated to decorative papers at the Grolier Club. So yeah, that's definitely a thing to visit. And there is a book prepared by Mindel Dubansky, which was just issued at the end of the last year, which is also dedicated to decorative papers. So there is this connection. And when we were at the Metropolitan Museum, this book, as far as I understand, it was sold at the bookshop of the Metropolitan Museum, and the copies that were at this shop, as far as I understand, were signed by Mindel. So that's also a great opportunity, which I unfortunately missed, because both times we had a chance to visit the museum, it was on Wednesday, and the bookshop was closed. So yeah, whatever. Karen Esteves, thank you for sharing this. And Karen joins us from Winter Haven, Florida. I guess for sharing this, it's the links that Pavel shared, but maybe something else, maybe everything we shared today. So it was an absolutely amazing opportunity to meet Mendel and to talk to her and to see the lab and to walk through the archives. Sofia, what you want to add? You also were there.
I was there. I was the most impressed by the empty mat that I didn't expect at all. Like when Stepan told me that it's gonna be closed, I assumed that we're gonna be allowed in the back end, but I didn't think that they will allow us to wander around in the actual Metropolitan Museum. It was phenomenal, very peaceful, very empty. Obviously, we didn't go to many pieces. We were just like very quickly browsing around, but it was very, very impressive. And I really liked the library and the whole amount of care which they have for books, and like that it's kind of a small room where the magic happens, and like when the things been conserved, preserved, or restored. I find it fascinating, and also the level of knowledge, and like you rarely see people who work 40 years at the same place and building something from the ground and can attest to what was happening in the 80s or whatnot, which I really, really admire. So that was very, very impressive.
Yeah, and yeah, I wanted to add something and absolutely forgot. Anyway, I know what I wanted to add. We also posted some additional materials related to this visit on our Instagram account and our Facebook account. So if you're interested, please check the links in the description of the video. And there is a pretty amazing percussion press there in the photos on Instagram, which Mindel showed us, and some other things as well. And we'll post more. I'm not sure about from the visit to the book conservation lab at the Met, and also from other studio visits that we had during this location. But let's move forward. The next,
Judging by the format of the videos, you were filming them to post on like TikTok
on
and
TikTok,
Instagram.
yeah. And if you are not
So we have a
subscribed to our
TikTok, by the
TikTok
way.
account, yeah, please subscribe. Yeah, Sofia was prompting me for quite a while to start working on our TikTok account and to embrace this already not not new but new for me format of addressing the audience and shooting the videos, because I'm absolutely against making tactical videos, and an old videographer in me is sort of it's a all the time cringe moments for me. So yeah, but
Yeah, it was hard to
I've
make
been here
him
for 40 years.
yeah, sorry.
make vertical videos, but not only that, I'm still trying to say TikTok requires a certain way of filming videos. Like, it's not that you're just cutting your YouTube video and put it on TikTok and that it's gonna go do well, and that it requires a certain following trends or doing something which is engaging and satisfying to watch.
And fun transitions, like you
Yeah,
jump and
transition and jump
yeah.
and thing, and maybe a bit of dancing or something. But Stefan is like classic boomer. No, in a way, it's like it's cute. What he's trying is very cute. I like every single video I see from
That's
him on TikTok.
that's the next step for us. Maybe when we have a dedicated person who can work on our TikTok videos and understands more about it. So our next visit was to Peter Garrity in Massachusetts. It was near Springfield or in Springfield area in Massachusetts. We visited two workshops during the same morning. Peter Garrity's workshop and the workshop of Daniel Kelm. Both of them have been guests have been guests on our podcasts in the previous years, and Peter also I took Peter's class at the American Academy of Bookbinding in 2015. It's already 7 years ago, more than 7 years ago. So it was a great pleasure to see Peter once again and to visit his workshop, his studio. He's working in the studio for many decades, and Daniel has been had this space in the same building for even longer, and yeah, it was interesting to see some of the books that Peter showed us during the podcasts and in real life, and we wouldn't show any books today because it just takes a lot of time and we don't have that much time. We have already broke through our 90-minute limits, but anyway, we'll continue.
No, we haven't. We started an hour ago.
We started at 18:30. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You're lost.
I was thrown off because we started in non-standard time. But anyway, I don't think we'll finish in within our 90-minute limit. So here is Peter Garrity's workshop, and his bio has shared the links, and his bookbinding studio is called Praxis Bindery.
Paper storage, such. This is still going to get reconfigured eventually. I'm going to turn that bench up against the window and I'm going to move the cutter into the center.
The red cutter is absolutely amazing.
That's
The
best.
color.
Yeah, well, because I didn't want a lot of black equipment.
Yeah.
So, you know, we paint them up, which is nice. So, and back here is all of the storage, the cloth, and the board. We
Okay.
can't get the green board anymore. You'll be
Yeah.
able to get it all the
Huh?
time.
They don't deliver it to the guests?
No,
Why?
they've stopped. And in here is the leather room.
Yeah.
You keep all the leather
Stuff.
according to, in theory, calf and goat, and then colors and all that. And parchment, which I just had trouble closing this drawer a few minutes ago, so I'm not going to bother opening it. But, so I have this thing here.
The paring machine.
Yeah, and so I can get the leather to this with the machine.
Yeah.
And then I can use my spoke shave to really get it out much nicer and then do the end caps,
Yeah.
get the corners down and all that kind of stuff. And a fume hood for when I need it.
That's a great reminder of how much I love this to see these weights with holes because
Yeah,
I-
old railroad track.
I have several railroad weights, but they're without holes, so it's much harder to move them around.
Well, you know, the thing I do with that is I'll take two of them with holes in them, put them on the cutter,
Yeah.
put a broomstick through the holes to hold a roll of cloth,
Okay.
and then I can just pull it right off. And
Yeah.
all of that stuff. And of course, the office, which is just as much of a mess as
Yeah.
the rest of the shop is.
Yeah. And books
there-
books about books.
Yeah, there's probably about 1,000 books. Not all exactly about books, but they might be about chemistry or paper making or printing.
Yeah.
But there's also ones, you know, right above your head in the entrance that you
Yeah.
can't see without getting, you know, because these things back here are full
Yeah.
as well. And this
Sonia.
this thing is really
There's an eggplant.
yes, purple with a
Purple,
green
yeah,
top,
yeah.
so eggplant.
I can see the logic.
This one is
Oh, there's a name there.
toad,
So, okay.
but this thing is really handy because I can stamp really large dies with this thing. It only does die stamping, but
Mhm.
you can do a lot of them. And with this one, I've been stamping labels for a parchment job I've got out
Yeah.
in the other room. I'm just about to finish up with. And type all the way around here.
Is it a press? This huge
Yeah,
thing
that's a
there?
gilding press. It's from Harcourt.
Okay.
It was one of the presses that we had at Harcourt, and when they moved, Sam sold that to me. But I'm giving it to Matthew Zimmerman, who's upstairs, because I'm never going to use it now.
And a lot of tools
Yeah,
for
again,
gold
everything
tooling.
is a mess.
I would say it's very well structured.
It's a
Well, it was
it's a beautifully structured mess.
yeah, it was well structured in the beginning, but what ends up happening, especially now that I'm by myself more or less, is that I'm too busy to actually clean anything up, because I keep moving. Like I have a year and a half backlog of work,
Oh wow.
and every time a job gets done, there's another job coming in. And in fact, I'm going to have to start refusing some jobs because, you know, I'm 70. I would like to slow down. I don't want to ever stop, but I'd like.
Yeah.
Was she in class with
and I-
you?
I think no, I met her through Brenda Gallagher,
Okay.
and I
Yeah.
think Brenda also visited AB this year,
She
earlier this
did,
year.
Yeah. She took
And,
a class with Don.
Yeah, the other person that I mentioned was Lucia Farias, who also was on
And
our
the big
podcast.
cabinet over there under the press is full of gouges and palettes.
So Peter says Gujas, but it's for the tooling, and I'm not sure if the straight edges and the stuff that I produce with 3D printing is also pronounced the same way. But well, we'll have to check that in the future. Anyway, Peter is an absolutely amazing host, person, teacher, and bookbinder. So it's like all together. And he also showed us like 10 of his bindings, or maybe more. And I think most of the bindings we discussed on our podcast, but it will be definitely a good opportunity to revisit them. Maybe we will play this video with the show and tell during one of our future live streams. We'll definitely publish it on TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, whatever. And what else? Pep.
I have to say it's been what 2.5 years since we filmed our interview with
Yeah.
Peter, and I forgot just how enormous his space is. In all these years, this is the biggest workshop we've seen. I'm pretty sure about that. And I'll post a link to a workshop Turkey gave us then.
Yeah.
There are some more details there.
Yeah.
And when I was there, I was like, I used to tell Stepan, I was like, how big of a workshop you need? Like a couple of, like 2 rooms, what? And when we came there, and I was like, oh wow, this is like, but he used to have like 6 apprentices or something. So there was a lot of people working in this workshop. And then now he's trying his hardest to like move the stuff to free this room where these tools are. But honestly, looking at the space, I'm like, I'm not even sure how I would reorganize it. And also it's such a daunting task. Like I cannot reorganize my own apartment, and this one is like so much stuff there. 40 years of being in the same place, you kind of build your space. So yeah, but it's ginormous, absolutely.
So Beb wrote, "Wow, he's got quite the workshop," and that's what Pavel said as well. And also, I always wonder, since you are so much into 3D printing, why there's not so much use of 3D printing in bookbinding, making books. I only know a book with 3D printed covers by Maria Wilgenkamp, and yeah, we just discussed this book a couple of days ago with Pavel, because we are planning a live stream dedicated to books that use 3D printing in some ways. There were also 2 books that that were made for the competition by the Stichting van Bookbinders, the Bookbinding Society of the Netherlands. It was 2019. I just checked quite recently because I had a talk with Astrid Beckers about the same topic, about books that used 3D printing technologies, and Maria's book was mentioned as well. But also, I made a book with 3D printed covers with Eliana Gomez then in 2019 for this competition, and Astrid Beckers also had a book made for the same competition, and we were all quite surprised that in the same competition in the Netherlands there were 2 books that used 3D printed covers, and I don't have photos on hand, unfortunately, to show you. Or
well, leave them for a separate stream, please.
Yeah. Okay, that will be a teaser. We'll show you these books during our stream where we'll discuss 3D printed book. There are some book elements that may be 3D printed, but yeah, definitely, I would also think that this technology allows to for a wider use, but we do not see it yet. Maybe it's because, well, there is a bit of disconnect for many traditional bookbinders and this sort of new upstart technology, which is also not really new because it's like already 40 to 50 years old, depending on where you count its origin. But anyway, yeah. I wanted to add something else about revision the books. Well, we'll talk about it in the nearest future. We definitely are working on this topic, and we'll have more to share with you. And maybe we will see Mario on our live stream in the future as well, because it would be an amazing opportunity to discuss not only 3D printed book covers, but just binding in general. So next we have Daniel Kelm, and where's the mouse pointer?
I think the place is a mess. Everybody else says that it's well organized. But
Perfectly rounded. Yeah.
I still can't find some things. But yeah, there's the nice award that you sent me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. That was really fun. I'm so glad that people enjoyed that conversation that we had. I have a hard time listening to the videos that I've done, but other people tell me about them. I'm really happy.
Well, it was a great talk. It was quite insightful, and I think we covered so many things, and well, from bookbinding to just general life stuff. So
you know, they're all connected.
Yeah,
They're all very
yeah.
much connected. Please, walk through.
Sorry for my labored breathing, because
Sorry, is it okay if you appear in the video?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
we agreed that we'll keep masks on for visiting Peter's and Daniel's studios, and there was a person who is working in Daniel's studio at the moment and helps Daniel and works on his own projects as well. So that's why I was asking. But yeah, another large studio, even more populated, I guess, and packed with stuff compared to Peter's studio. And but yeah, as Peter is downsizing, there is much more free space there in Peter's.
We recorded a podcast with you some time ago, and it was a really nice talk. And if anybody is interested, I'll post a link in the description of the video.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. I enjoyed talking with you and Pavel.
Yeah. But it's finally great to be in your studio. So, what are your plans for? It's 2023 is coming. Yeah, 2022 is ending. 2023 is coming.
Well, I continue collaborating with people and doing leather binding and artist books and unusual structures this next year. I mean, it's so funny. I finally now am exploring leisure too at this stage of my life. I love being engaged here at the studio and experimenting and making things and trying things that I haven't tried before. But I'm also trying to pace myself, and just, it used to be that my life was totally centered here. If someone wasn't in this building, I didn't have a relationship with them, really. And it's a great building for relationship and community. But now I'm spending a lot of the energy that I focused here at home and developing a wonderful space at home as well. Just the whole thing, our backyard is where we meet people during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'll continue to be fully engaged here and experimenting, trying new things, new structures, and developing relationships with collaborators.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
So that was a message from Daniel Kelm. And Sofya, do you want to add something? Because you talked with Daniel, I guess, even more than I did because I was walking around and making videos.
I don't know. I really enjoyed his thing, which is like you can construct different.
Yeah, unfortunately,
How
I
can
didn't
explain that?
make a video of this
Yeah,
book.
I was playing with that for a long time, and I really, really enjoyed the creativity of it and like the structural creativity of it. And overall, it was delight. And I was so happy that Daniel specifically came to see us, even though he had a family visit this day, and it was not the best time for him, but he wanted to see us, so he came. And it was very, very. I was very touched by that. And also, he told us that he brought Peter to this building 40 years ago. And I was like, it's so impressive when people keeping this close relationship for years and years and years at work and in personal lives. And ultimately, it's just the staying power of certain crafts and the like consistency of doing the thing for so many years. That's so impressive to me. I cannot even imagine being that dedicated to something all throughout your time when you could have retired or do something else, but people continue going. Though Peter told us that he wants to spend some time in the garden instead of doing bookbinding, so he would prefer to do half a day in the garden. So, yeah.
Yeah. It was very nice both of them because it was what 27th of December.
Yeah, we're
26th.
coming to see people
So
around Christmas saying like, "Oh, we're gonna come on 25th."
Yeah, right after Christmas, and so it wasn't a work day for Peter. It wasn't work day for Daniel, and we came there at 8:30 in the morning, and Daniel came also pretty early because at then he had to meet his relatives, and Peter also. Well, Peter waited while we were spending our, I don't know, 15-20 minutes with Daniel, and then we came back to Peter and continued talking to him. So it was very nice of them to sort of fit our to accommodate to our schedule, and well, yeah.
And Daniel is a very, very inspiring figure. He is continuing to invent those amazing mathematical constructions, and he's been doing it for quite some time. He's written a book, maybe a couple of books, maybe more about them, and he's still doing that. And he's thinking of spending more time home. I love that.
Yeah. And also he battled cancer, right? And it's been he was given a certain expectation and prognosis, and he beat all the odds, and therefore he has very uplifting outlook on life, and that was inspiring to see. I really, really enjoyed our time spent both with Daniel and Peter.
Yeah. And so our next visit the same day with Peter and Daniel, we drove from Massachusetts to New York State, Hudson, New York, and there we visited the house of Richard Minsky, and had walked through. Well, another guest of our podcast, Richard appeared twice, I think, on our holiday special, as well as a separate podcast, and we also met his partner, Barbara Slate, which was also quite amazing to talk about graphic novels and her art and graphic design and all of that. And I guess I will post the link, or can you, Pavel, find Barbara Slate?
I can try.
Yeah, and she's on Instagram, and well, she has a website as well. But anyway, we shot a video in Richard's workshop, and had a really nice talk there, and but yeah, it was a busy day.
May I walk through your studio?
Sure.
That was not
Just watch your step.
Yeah.
short answer.
It's always interesting to see
how one
studios.
person's mess differs from another.
Yes, exactly. And which? Sorry.
Yes, it's a creative house.
The press, the standing press is quite amazing.
Yeah, the Bertrand Frere press. It's a great percussion press, to be exact.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I stand. This is these are covers for the for that box. This is for the next few copies of the box. That's what I'm working on now. These are all the materials that the box is
For the
made of.
boxes.
And these are all these are the notes that I still have to follow all the notes every time because it's such a complicated thing to make. Every step of it, even there's a whole page just on attaching the covers to the box. You know what it takes to get this mechanism so it works because it's very precise. You can't be a little bit off with this. It looks very easy. You just do it and it all works. But if you get something wrong by like a 64th of an inch, it doesn't work. So everything has to be done in a precise sequence, and things have to be cut pretty precisely. Those are just some recent acquisitions that I have to make dust jackets for out of Mylar. These are some beautiful, by the way, designs of Burke Cassidy.
Yeah.
It's really something. The different designers, like even something as simple across as this. Here's two different versions of the paperback cover that he did for a book and the hardcover, but you can see the detail that he does in his work. Somebody that I haven't done a lot of promotion of yet. Get that out of there. That should actually be hanging on the press.
So Richard was talking about the parts of the box he was making, and he has recently patented a book display structure apparatus, as he calls it, and we also recorded a video where he shows this system, and it's quite an amazing system.
This is my pop-up display mechanism. Actually, the
Will you
patent
show it
says
to us?
pop-up display apparatus. You open it, and the book pops up. It pops up a little bit in case you want to take the book out. You can take it out easily of the box without having to dig in. But if you want to display the box, you just flip the back like this, and it forms a stand like that. And then you can also adjust the angle of the stand to whatever the light demands, because you don't want to have reflections, and the light is different in every situation.
And
when you're done with it,
and quite often it's bad. The light.
Yeah. And when you want to close it, it just closes like that.
Yeah.
So it's all very fast to have a display for book art.
And the book itself in this display is also an interesting object. We also talked about this. Pavel, did you notice what is there on the cover?
No, I was so entranced by the transformations. I was waiting. What's
itself.
next? Will it turn into a truck?
Great project. Catalin Valentin's Lamb is a photograph by Rosalind Fox Solomon that she took in the Andes Mountains in Peru in 1981. This book tells the story of this photograph, which has become an iconic photograph. And these are end papers she asked for sky blue, so that's the sky outside my studio. So she was in the back of a pickup truck. Well, in the second pickup truck. The first pickup truck she was in the back of, she was afraid the driver was going to kidnap her, or worse. And as she said, she didn't want to be part of a cocaine deal or kidnapped by the Shining Path. So she left her driver and asked somebody in this village what to do. They said, go see the bishop. So I said, do you have a picture of the bishop? She said, yes, and there's the bishop. And the bishop told her, actually gave her to Madre Rosa Cedro to take care of her and find her a new driver and set her up for her photography expedition. And so she got in the back of a pickup truck. There she is, and there's her driver. There's her new driver. That's Hector, the driver. And so she was in the back of this pickup truck and saw this landscape. She saw the landscape. I said, "Do you have a picture of the landscape?" And she did. And so she saw this beautiful gorge, and she jumped out of the back of the pickup truck, and that's when she saw Cataline Valentine nursing the lamb. And she asked if she could take the picture, and she said yes. And she did, and it became quite a notorious picture. She went back a few years later, this is in 1995, and found Cataline Valentine stirring this pot of corn by the side of the road. I said to her, "Do you have a photograph of her stirring the corn?" She looked and found the photograph. So she told the story on these 2 pages of text from her journal entries, and that's what the book is about. What's interesting about it is on the side of this box, we've also got a pull-out tray. See, the tray has a lift up, so it makes it easy to take the things out of it, of the Utne Reader. And the Utne Reader in this issue, which is July, August 1988, printed that photo on the back page just with the title, no explanation. Rosalind would not give them a caption or explanation. She said people have to just see it on its own. And so what happened was the readers of the Utne Reader immediately wrote in with all kinds of, they reproduced the photograph again. Someone said, "Give us a caption." They explained why there was no caption. And then there were these reader responses. It was a shocker, a form of bestiality. So repulsed, I tore it out. A picture of compassion, lyrical, erotic, peaceful, real world holy. The different kinds of responses that people had to that picture, which was, as it should be. Everybody has their own take on the third one is their 10th anniversary issue. They printed it again because it had been such an important thing. So here are these 3 very nice copies of the Utne Reader from then that are in this tray that's in the side of this. So this has its archival material and the story to go along with the photograph.
So yeah, another educational moment and quite an amazing story and a very interesting project all in one.
I didn't expect anything less from Richard, anything less in any of the respects, and technical and provocative and beautiful too.
Yeah. And so the last visit we had was in New York.
Brooklyn.
But okay, in Brooklyn. Yeah, that's right. I'm moving stuff. I wanted to show some stuff as well, but yeah. Anyway, so we went to it was a printing studio. We met with Esther Smith and Dico Faust, and Dico's project is Purgatory Pipe Press, and they also work jointly on some books because Esther wrote several books about bookbinding and book arts, and I'll show a really short video from their studio because we'll have more dedicated to their work in the future videos. Probably we'll show longer videos in the future live streams as well. So it's a much smaller space compared to what we've seen during the previous studio tours, but still an amazing space and amazing people, and it was a great privilege for us to meet all of these people, to talk to them, and for them to spend time with us and to share their craft and knowledge and their art. And all in all, it was an amazing trip and amazing time visiting and meeting them all. So thanks to all of them, and I hope to see them in the future again on our live streams, in real life, anywhere. Sofia, do you have anything to add about visit to Richard's house and about Esther Smith and Dick house, or anything else?
I was very impressed how different of a personalities people have in the bookbinding community. It's like such a array of characters. And I was vividly impressed by Richard's partner and overall the way how they view the world and the provocation and the brilliance. I did really enjoy seeing the printing place of the Esther and Zigo, because we usually was talking about bookbinding with people about bookbinding, and this one is printing, so it's very different. And Esther was showing some of the projects from literally 40 years ago, how they were doing things, and I don't know, 80s. And some of the things look very modern, and I was like, oh, when was this done? And she was showing like address book or phone book or something, and I was like, that doesn't seem like a very modern thing to use. And I was like, oh yeah, because it's from 80s. I was like, oh wow. I wouldn't say, like, it looks so cool. And like precision of this work and the beauty of this work and everything is, I always so impressed because I'm so far away from any type of craft. I'm married to a craftsman, but my job is so corporate and so virtual in nature. My day is spent in calls and PowerPoint presentations and mails. So I'm always very amazed to see what people can create with their hands, and what they can think of and come up with from creative standpoint is also absolutely impressive. So it's not only hands, it's just also imagination and creativity and just pure brain of like how to figure out things like Richard was showing, or the structural beauty of the things which Daniel is doing, and all of those things. It's just so wildly impressive.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I wanted to show something else, but I guess because we brought some bookish objects from our stay in the US and from our holiday in general, but probably we'll reserve it for the next time. And I also wanted to mention that in the latest issue of the new Bookbinder, the bulletin, the Journal of the Designer Bookbinder Societies in the UK, there is an article about iBookBinding. They asked me to write about the history of the project and about marrying 3D printing and modern technologies with this ancient craft, and how design works, and how what's the future plans for iBookBinding. And I haven't mentioned anything about our move to the United Kingdom there, because the article was written earlier in this year, where we even didn't know that we're moving. But many things are still quite valid about some of our future plans. So if you are a member of Designer Bookbinders, you'll get the issue. If you are not, you can order it from their website. Maybe there will be a digital version of the article. I'm not sure. I have to discuss that with the editor, with people from the Designer Bookbinders, if they allow me to publish the text separately on iBookbinding's blog or elsewhere. But anyway, that's something really interesting. It was an interesting experience to write this piece and to work on it, and a great privilege to be highlighted. How you say featured in such an established journal. So that's that. I also wanted to mention that, and we are getting to the end of this live stream because now we are over our 90-minute format. But I also wanted to mention that last year, approximately at this moment, we talked about iBookBinding Awards. We have this small academy of guests of our podcast and live streams, whom we asked what are the most important, most interesting bookish things that happened in the previous year. We did the same thing this year, while a bit later because, well, obviously we were all very busy with stuff. And there will be definitely a video dedicated to that, but probably in February, because we still need to get all the answers from our guests, and we need to work on them and to обработать. I forget all the
process the data,
process,
and we will have more data this year, because we've had more guests. What did you say? It was over 60?
Over 60 people, we were asked, and I hope that at least 2/3 will fill in the questionnaire in the end, but we'll see how it goes. And what else? Yeah, there are a lot of plans for us moving forward in the UK. But I guess we'll talk about these plans a bit later. I saw some of the answers in this questionnaire, and somebody was like, I think I wrote about it last year, but maybe iBookBinding, it's time for iBookBinding to launch some sort of competition or something. And I think we discussed it with somebody during our holiday special or something like that. That's definitely in the plans, but we need to figure out the format of the competition. There are other things as well, inviting more people to work on the project, on the research, teaching, I don't know, workshop space, everything. So there are a lot of plans and ideas, and we'll try to fulfill them one by one, step by step. So that's a lot of plans for 2023 and for the upcoming years. Stay tuned. Please subscribe if you are not subscribed yet. Please like this video because, well, it helps us to spread the message and the art of bookbinding and the craft of bookbinding to wider audiences. And well, we love the process, but obviously when there are more viewers, it also makes us a bit happier. So anyway, thanks everybody for staying with us today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for sharing from where you join us. It's always a pleasure to see your comments about that. And I say it was one of the most stable live streams in our history, because the amount of people watching simultaneously was sort of not constant, but all the time around the same number. So I'm really happy that we were able to keep the people entertained and focused. So Beb van Hastern wrote, "Thank you for this live event and good luck with the moving to England." Thank you a lot, Beb, and thanks for being with us as a viewer and as a guest. And we really hope to see you on our live streams in the future as well. David Rubino, great, have a great move. Thank you all. Real LWD, thank you for a great video and your time. Turgon92, thank you guys. Tanya Guerra Dejo, bookbinding in Mexico, in Peru. That's definitely, by the way, we talked about it, I think, during our holiday special, that this is one of the focus points for us in 2023, to feature more bookbinders from South America, from Africa, from Asia, from Australia and New Zealand, from regions outside of Europe and United States. Maybe some people from Canada, because did we have somebody from Canada already?
Bookseller.
So. Yeah.
We had a bookseller, but not a bookbinder.
We had Subairul Islam. He's a Canadian bookseller. That's true. We have some preliminary agreements with people from Africa and with the I think it was with a Native American printer. So that's something to wait for in the nearest weeks. Probably we still have to arrange a schedule, but definitely more interesting guests are being scheduled, and just, well, wait a bit and you will see. Terry Power, nice to meet Sofya. Love you guys. Thank you very much. And thank you, Sofya, for coming today. It was a great pleasure to have you once again on our live stream. And start interviewing new bookbinders. We had some hobbies.
We had beginners, yeah. I think we could do that again.
We need to do that again. Yeah, that's definitely.
Yes.
I'm not even a beginner. I'm like minus level.
Pavel can qualify. He had one class in my workshop, so he's definitely a beginner bookbinder. Anyway, we'll stay for a minute or so while the live stream ends on both platforms, and then that's it for this week. Next week we'll probably stream on Tuesday because, well, also scheduling issues and preparing for the move. But anyway, thank you everybody. Please like, subscribe,
and
share.
Have a good year.
And have a good year.
Very good year.
Yeah.
At least this one.
See you in the future during the future streams.